Hi, everyone.
Hi guys.
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining us today on International Women's Day. We are so excited to welcome radio host Alyson Hau, film director Joanna Bowers, and influencer Jessie Li to celebrate this special day with us.
Yay! So today they'll be sharing with us insights into their unconventional careers and challenges that they overcame. And if you have any questions along the way, just feel free to pop them into the chat, and if time allows, they'll answer a few of them after their talk.
So the first speaker for tonight is Alyson Hau, the host of Teen Time and the Chart Show on RTHK Radio 3, as well as the co-host of one of the most listened to radio programs in Hong Kong.
Woo!
With that, let's welcome Alyson Hau.
To be here with you tonight on International Women's Day. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm really thrilled to be here to talk to you about inspirations, because that's what I do on the show called The Common Room on the Daily. First and foremost, let me introduce myself to you. I am a radio show host, like our presenters today introduced me as, and we do a lot of events, we host a lot of programs, we host a lot of big mega shows as well. And on the program, I speak to celebrities. Like recently, I spoke to Dua Lipa, and I speak to Imagine Dragons, I speak to you name it, the biggest superstars on the planet. Since they're not touring this year, everybody is extra available to speak to us via Zoom as well. Also, when huge movies were doing huge events like Transformers Age of Extinction, they were filming in Hong Kong, so they launched the worldwide premiere in Hong Kong. I got the chance to share the stage, not just with Optimus Prime, but also with Mark Wahlberg when they were here in town as well. Now, that's the glamorous side to what I do. So a lot of you might already be thinking, how do I get that job? I really want to get in on it too. Well, let me tell you, this is how I started. I never intended to start a career in radio. To be honest, the only thing that I ever thought would be a potential career for me was a telephone system voice. You know that voice that says, for English, please press 1. 广东话请按2，普通话请按3. That was my actual aspiration. Let me give you a little bit of a history education on some of the Hong Kong telephone systems. This is, get ready for me to show my age. This is pre-Google days. This is before 24 hours news channels day. So when I was a little girl, getting ready for school, putting on the school uniform, the big question is, do I put a sweater on or not? And so I need to find out the temperature of the day, what the weather forecast is going to be like. Without a smartphone, without a TV that I can just turn on and get that information instantly, what do we used to do? There was a hotline here in Hong Kong before, and the number was 1803 18503 for Cantonese and 18501 for English. You call up that number and you get the information of the current time, the current weather as in temperature and humidity, and the forecast for the rest of the day. That is super old school, but I would dial that number every single day while I was getting ready for school, just to see whether it's sweater weather or not. Now, because I did that every single day as a practice, that became something that I found interesting in. So that became something that I would practice really religiously in the shower, just so that my mom doesn't think that I'm a weirdo in the house. But having said that, it was later that I discovered a real love for me. And I mean a romantic way. Can I just see a show of hands? Has anybody heard of the Backstreet Boys? If you have, send me some love. If you have not, I don't blame you. It's probably before your time. Way, you have! Jasmine, high five. Sophia, high five. Nice. For those who do not know who the Backstreet Boys are, let me do a little screenshot share with you and see whether you can remember these guys. You see these boys? Yeah, they are the Backstreet Boys. They are the origin of BTS. They are the reason why I do what I do, because I genuinely believed that I would marry one of them. That's how obsessed I was with them. It's kind of like on the level of how Billie Eilish is so obsessed with Justin Bieber. I was crazy over them. And because I really wanted to marry one of them, ultimately, I need to figure out a way to get to them. They're in the States. I'm in Hong Kong. What do I do to meet them? And so here's my crazy thought. Obviously, I have a pretty average face for TV, so that's a no go. Plus, I was like 12 at the time. What could I potentially do that would land me a chance to meet them? Now, if I really want to, get into a romantic relationship with them, it needs to be more than just an 2 seconds airport banner encounter. And so I thought, maybe I will become a radio show host because they always speak to stars. They always do interviews with these celebrities. Maybe that's my way in. And so I started listening to a lot of bilingual channels, overseas channels, and I listened to all radio shows that would play music from the Backstreet Boys. And so ultimately, one day, my favorite Hong Kong based radio channel had this promo on while I was listening to their show, saying that they're recruiting. And there I was thinking, that's my chance. I was 16 years old at the time. This was when I would still be getting my, well, then DSE results. I haven't even gone through Form 5 yet, but I really wanted to try it out. And so at home, I had this really ghetto setup. It was like a double tape, hole in the machine kind of microphone setup. And so I recorded a actual cassette tape demo, put them on bilingual sites, and I didn't have the guts to send it out. And I was like, it's not good enough. I don't think anybody would want to hear this. And so I tucked it under my bed. Now, my mom, she knew that I had a huge passion for radio anyway. And just like how your parents spy on what YouTube you've been watching, she used to listen to my tapes as well, as in what kind of radio shows I've been listening to. And so she picked up this tape that she found under my bed and started playing it. And that day after school, I got home and my mom started asking me, who is this girl that's on this tape? My face just dropped. And I was like, you're never supposed to hear that. It's so embarrassing. Now, the reason why she didn't quite understand or realize that it was me was because when you talk to moms, usually, you're more cutesy, you're more girly. You're like, Mom, how are you? And she's never heard me out of the shower mimicking the telephone system voice. That's the voice that I actually put on to my demo. Anyways, long story short, she encouraged me to send the tape out. I did. They received my tape, called me back, and said, let's get you into the first round of competition. After 9 rounds of competition, the winning prize was a part-time contract at the radio station. And there I had my first taste of what it's like to broadcast, what it's like to be in a studio among all these crazy monster machines and be able to talk to the public without even seeing your listeners or ever meeting them. That was when the magic happened. That was when I found my true love. It wasn't the Backstreet Boys, but it made me feel even better. Now, if you would imagine you at 16 going into the workforce, really trying to establish yourself as somebody with potential, it is a lot of work. So what I had to do was every day I had to prove myself. As a newbie, I was given the most chorish, most irrelevant intern jobs. Let's say, for example, I would be the one who got sent out with the most ridiculous questions to do street surveys. I remember one time I got this question, how do you like to eat your sushi? Do you eat your fish first or do you eat your rice first? Ridiculous questions that people just walk away from you. And that was my task, my first task, actually. And my job was to get 20 answers. And so there I was with the official microphone, the official MD machine from the station, out on the street to talk to people about how they like to eat their sushi. Now, obviously, every time when you have a massive mic, people start running away and looking for the candid cameras. And so ultimately, I went back with less than 10 airable answers. Well, most of the answers were just of people walking away from me. And my first mentor, who was my co-host at the time, said to me, that is not up to par. I sent you out to get 20 airable questions, not 20 responses. And that was when I realized that this is no joke. This is serious. Everything I do is going to carry some weight. And so the next week was when I start to really step up. I got given another question. I got given the same machine. I asked them to give me the question one day in advance. So I get another extra day to work hard for it. Ultimately, I got 40 airable questions, not 20, not 30, 40 airable questions. When I came back with all those material, my mentor who told me off at the time basically yelled me and said, "You're just going to be wasting my time listening through all of these 40 airable answers." But he said it with a smirk. So I knew that I convinced him at the point. So then later on, it became more editing, trying to edit out all of the swear words that we couldn't play on the radio, trying to do all of the productions, trying to learn every single thing about radio. And guess what? The more I did, the more people trusted me, and the more I was able to deliver, the better the job I got assigned to do. So finally, I got assigned to do some more celebrity interviews. Another step closer to meeting the Backstreet Boys. I waited for another year. They broke up, they got back together. And then finally, 10 years later, believe it or not, get ready for the next screenshot share at your window. It happened. I met them. And guess what? AJ was my favorite. This was a press conference right before their Hong Kong concert. And AJ, after the press conference, shook my hand and said, "You did a beautiful job and you're beautiful." No, he did not ask me to marry him, but I almost cried. Was I as excited as I thought I was going to be? Probably not, just because I grew up and they grew up quite a bit too. But that was definitely a huge box that was ticked out of my list. So my central message for you today is you signed up to a webinar about inspiration. However, being a girl in this day and age is hard. Being a girl with ambition at this day and age is really hard. Being a young girl who wants to change the world is extremely hard. However, you know what? Life is going to be long. Even if you're right now still quite confused, not quite sure about what you're passionate about, that's what they always say, right? Or where you want to take your life to, what your direction is going to be. Maybe you don't even know what you want to do as a job. And I want to assure you that that confusion is totally okay. I completely took my life to a different direction simply because I thought I was going to marry a boy band member. And guess what? Because of that silly little thought, my life completely changed. And now I am able to provide a platform for real inspirations to hit the airwaves. I got the chance to learn so much about the business and to learn from my future guests. And also I got the chance to meet the most inspiring people and share their story. The thing is, when you are young, when you are a girl, a lot of people have unrealistic expectations on you. Oh, so you run fast. You must be the next female Usain Bolt. Or, oh, you're into STEM and science. You want to be the next female Elon Musk? Well, here's again, my truth is nobody has all the answers. So if right now you know where you want to steer, but not quite sure how to do it or where to go as first step, is totally okay. You will figure things out one step at a time. And last but not least, I also wanted to let you know that you need to know yourself. Even if it's the silliest little thing, even if it's just a song that got you all googly inside, or maybe it was an experience or an encounter that you had with somebody that made you got all the butterflies flying in your stomach. Remember these moments, because these are the moments that will help you find yourself. Really understand what you love, whether it is a song, whether it is an app, whether it is a game that you really enjoy playing. Not anything that your parents like, not anything that your friends like, but you individually. What do you enjoy? And start from there. Once again, thank you, Lincoln, for inviting me to join you today. And also huge thank you to Inspiring Girls Hong Kong. It's been wonderful. And what a great way to celebrate International Women's Day. Thank you, everyone.
I'm sure that was such an inspiring talk, and I'm sure it motivated a lot of young girls out there to just push on and just engage in their passion, even if it was just a small little fangirl moment. I'm sure it was very stimulating. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So now our next speaker is a film writer and director. She has filmed throughout mainland China, Nepal, Indonesia, Thailand, Philippines, and even the United States. So please welcome Joanna Bowers.
Hi everyone, thanks so much for having me here today. This is an incredible way to be celebrating International Women's Day. As I put my 5-year-old daughter to bed tonight, I explained to her that I was going to be here talking on a panel to inspire young women and young girls in Hong Kong. And I said to her, Jemima, what do you think you want to be when you grow up? And she sat there and she thought for a while and she said, Mummy, I want to be a ballerina and an artist. And I said, oh yes, at the same time. She said, yes, I'm going to paper my room or my studio with paper, and I'm going to dance and paint the walls as I go. And I was like, I think that's fantastic. And then it made me laugh, because there's a very, very, very famous story in our family of how when I was a little girl, I got to about the age of 2 years old, and apparently the story goes, I saw the Nutcracker on Christmas, on television one Christmas. And from that moment onwards, I got up on my tiptoes and I put my arms up in the air and impersonated a ballerina and danced around until my mum relented and finally said, okay, you can go to ballet lessons. And I think for me, probably that was sort of my initial spark. That's the initial moment that if I look back at my life, like that was my first appreciation of the arts and just the beginning of a journey for me. So I studied ballet for a long time. I was very lucky. I studied ballet from the age of 2 years old up until I was nearly 20. I was also lucky enough, I started off studying in the UK. I'm originally from the UK. I went to a normal primary school, a government funded primary school. I went to a secondary school that was called a grammar school in England. And then I was lucky enough to do quite well in my GCSE exams. And I got an academic scholarship to an all-girls international boarding school when I was 16 years old to do my A-levels. Now, the reason that I got the scholarship at the time when I was 16 was because I'd done quite well in my initial exams and kind of got confused about who I was and about what I wanted to do and what my passions were. And so I thought to myself, okay, I did well. I think I had 9 or 10 A stars. And I thought, okay, if I'm going to be successful, I must be smart. So I'm going to be successful. So what's the most successful thing? I'm going to be a doctor. So I got an academic scholarship to this girls' boarding school based on the fact that I was going to be a doctor. And so I started my A-levels and I was studying, I had to study biology to be a doctor to get into university to do medicine, and one other science, and I chose chemistry, and then I chose French. But after half a semester of chemistry A-level, I was like, what have I done? This school that I was at was an amazing arts-focused, it was kind of like Hogwarts in the middle of the countryside in England, all girls, and it absolutely excelled at the drama, the photography, the art, the English. And suddenly I realized I can't spend my days learning equations. Like I'd been doing some general studies classes in photography, and I'd been doing some drama things on the side. I was like, this is my passion. This is what I love. This is what I want to do. So I went to the headmistress and I said, I need to drop chemistry A-level pronto. I'd like to take art or photography or drama or anything else, and instead. And the headmistress said to me, well, the timetable's set already. So I had to take classics, which was the closest thing I could get to English literature. And in the UK at that time, really having such a narrow choice ultimately shaped my my career path, because in contrast to baccalaureate or SATs or any of the other programs that people study in this part of the world, A-levels meant that you had to have specific subjects to get into university to study specific things. And so I went, okay, I'm good at languages, I like the arts, European studies seems like a good idea. It's hard to choose these things when you're 17, 18 that are going to shape the rest of your life. And I managed to go off to university, but found a program there for broadcast journalism with the BBC. I'd met someone that was already on the first year of this course, and it seemed like loads of fun, and it was in a studio, and I got to be on camera, which was, really interesting and exciting at the time. After my first year or so at university, I was like, this is awesome. I'm loving this, but I don't want to be a journalist. I realized that journalism mostly for me was way too depressing and down. And I liked the fashion and I liked the art and the lifestyle programming. So as it came up to my last year at university, I kind of thought I'd have a bit of an adventure. Everybody else in my year seemed to be heading off to do that gap year thing where they would go to Australia and then the whole backpacker journey. And I thought, nah, I want to do something different. So I decided to get myself an internship visa for America. And my first job in my internship in America had to be related to my degree program and had to be processed through an organization that helped with these visas. So my first job in Los Angeles when I first went there was actually in the film industry, training horses and dogs to be in the movies. I was lucky enough that I'd grown up with horses, so I knew a little bit about it, but it was a bit of a crazy entry, but I was excited to go and see America. From there, I started working for a film producer. I got my start in TV commercial production as a director's assistant, and slowly and surely began working my way up the ladder in the entertainment industry. Now, the strange thing for me at the time was that even though I'd been to university for broadcast journalism and my thesis was actually my first ever documentary short film that I'd directed, I never realized that being a director was a career option for me. And so it took me a really, really long time of working as a production coordinator, a treatment writer, a development associate, a casting director, until one day a good friend of mine had written her first short film script, and I helped her as a producer to raise the funding for the project. And when we were ready to shoot the film, I said to her, okay, who do you think you want to direct this film for you? And she ran and she said immediately, I think you should direct it. And I was like, wait, what? I'm not a director. And then I had this moment where I went, oh, actually, I've done all these different jobs in production. I grew up doing theatre at school. I've been a casting director. I know how this whole thing works. And I thought, yeah, if I hire myself a really good cameraman as a good cinematographer, I think I'm in a good shape. And that first short film was how I discovered my passion. After my first day on set filming and saying action and cut, I was just like, I found this thing, I love it, it's amazing. And so for the next couple of years, I continued to direct short film content and commercials and all kinds of fashion films and fun things. Then, unfortunately, by 2010, 2011, the knock-on effects of the global financial crisis hit. And for the least experienced, newest director in Los Angeles, suddenly all the work dried up and it disappeared, and I was horrified. And I ended up, as a result of that, coming out to Hong Kong to see a friend. And as a result of that, I ended up getting hired to shoot sustainability documentaries throughout Asia for a big apparel manufacturing company. And because of that, I had to set up my production company here in Hong Kong, which is now where I've been for the last 10 years. So it's been kind of amazing. And since I've been in Hong Kong, I continue to direct short form content. And then in 2015, I was introduced to my producing partner, who said to me, yeah, I'm really interested in making something about migrant domestic workers in Hong Kong. And I said, oh, do you know what? That's actually something else that I've been looking at and been really excited about. Has anyone explored this before? And it was one of these things where it was like, no, nobody hasn't. And we were like, why haven't they? These women, they've got to have so many stories. So we ran a Kickstarter campaign to see if there was an appetite out there, if people were going to be interested in hearing more about the migrant domestic workers in Hong Kong. We succeeded. It blew us all away. I was pregnant with my daughter at the time, and it was a very emotional roller coaster running a Kickstarter campaign whilst pregnant. But we succeeded, and we raised the money, and then we shot the Helper documentary. And it was an amazing ride because nobody on that film had ever made a feature documentary. We all came from short form film commercial production, but we knew that we could do it. We knew that we were passionate about this, and we knew we wanted to tell this story. And so we made my first feature documentary film, which was called The Helper. And The Helper blew us all away. We were thrilled. Another female director introduced us to Edco Films here in Hong Kong, who own the AMC cinema chain. They liked the film. They said, you know what, we'll give you a go. We'll give you 5 days. See if you can sell the tickets. And we were like, okay, we'll try to do that. Hopefully it won't be too embarrassing. Hopefully we'll actually have people in there. And it was amazing. We sold out in like 30 minutes. And then we kept on extending. They kept on extending us and giving us more and more screenings. And the film ended up staying in the cinemas for 3 months, which blew us away and blew our distributors away. And from there, we went on to international distribution. And then from there, I got hired to shoot my next feature documentary film, which I'm just completing right now, called Refashioned, exploring Hong Kong's sustainable fashion innovators. So my career path has been incredibly unconventional. And sometimes it's not easy. And sometimes I don't quite know where I'm going next. But every day is different for me. Some days I'm writing, some days I'm coming up with a concept, some days I'm writing a treatment, I'm figuring out what this thing might look like, pulling visual references together. Other days I'm on set and I'm out talking to people and getting to see places that I don't think ordinarily I would have had the opportunity to go to or meet. So for me, that's just so exciting and so inspiring. It's what makes me want to get up out of bed every day and go out into the world and continue exploring. And the irony of it all is, when I think about it, my daughter this morning told me that she wants to be a ballerina artist. And I guess as a filmmaker, I am an artist. So it's pretty nice to think that, my little one, thinking about her opportunities and her ideas, she's not limited in any way, shape or form. And I guess that's my message this International Women's Day for anyone watching out there. I know in Hong Kong, it can sometimes feel like you are being pushed into some limited career paths, but kind of my message is explore your passions, follow those passions. And follow your gut and expect the unexpected. Life and the media and entertainment and all industries are changing at such a fast rate these days that if you can find the things that you enjoy, that you're good at, and really sort of think about it and make some good connections, it's likely that you will be able to make a great career out of it. And you will be able to fulfill the dreams that you had when you were 5 years old, hopefully. So thanks so much, Linka. Thank you, Inspiring Girls, for having me here today. And I hope I've provided some sources of inspiration for you all.
Inspiring. I'm sure I can speak for everyone. Thank you so much for sharing your personal story. I especially love your message about just exploring and pursuing unconventional paths and not allowing other people's preconceptions or convictions to limit yourself to a certain box. So once again, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Our final speaker for tonight is a banker turned travel, beauty, and lifestyle blogger. With over 300,000 followers on Instagram, Jessie Li has transformed her life since leaving the world of investment banking to travel the world as a wanderlust style influencer. So please welcome Jessie Li.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me today. What a wonderful way to celebrate the International Women's Day. So a lot of you might think being an influencer is it's like the ultimate job, to get paid, to enjoy life, and to get dressed in beautiful clothes. Let me actually tell you some actual insights of what we do and what's actually expected from us. So let me tell you a little bit about myself first. Up to 3 years ago, my life was actually very different. I had a very successful career in investment banking, while on the outside may have seen my work in corporate world as a success. On the inside, I felt very discontent and I felt unfulfilled. I was burned out and decided to explore something new. Becoming an entrepreneur was a popular social media platform where I can keep others inspired, have and help them to become the better selves has improved my happiness immeasurably. It allowed me to build a career around my passion, and I felt like I was empowering others. As a result, I truly love my job. Since I left investment banking, I have founded a PR media company called Change Globe Media. I am about to launch my premium supplement brand, and I also coach at Female Entrepreneur Worldwide. I speak at many events, public events for empowering women, and now I'm also mentoring at Inspiring Girls. So what does my role entail as an influencer? I would say my job has two large parts. One is for content creation. The other part is about inspire other people. For content creation side, before the brands they do a new launch for products or collection, they will often reach out to us, the ones who they think aligns with their brand image or brand story, and well, they will send us the product and ask us to create the content, and we will share the content either in photo or in video on our social media platforms. A part of my day also attend events around the world, like fashion weeks or media launch parties. For instance, I attend fashion weeks before COVID-19 twice a year in Europe, and in between the seasons, sometimes the big brands they will do a launch. For instance, Jo Malone did a new perfume launch in London, and they chose one influencer for each country and flew the influencer to London. I even had my own helicopter with my name on it. It was so amazing. And before COVID-19, I was also invited by a lot of the lifestyle brands to go to different countries to experience the country, the culture, or sometimes the hotel. The most amazing stay I had was actually, I was invited by Conrad Maldives, and I stayed in the first under the world villa. It was under the sea, and every night when I sleep, I can see the fish swimming across from the roof of that particular room. And during the day, I see sea turtles, I see sharks. The experience was very surreal. On the inspirational side, I often do public talks, female empowerment or youth empowerment. I've been coaching with Female Entrepreneur Worldwide, and now I'm about to open a new chapter of Inspiring Girls in Australia. I am very excited about it. So how was the journey from investment banker to influencer? How did that actually happen? Like most of the Asian parents, my parents were strong believers in cultivating the next generation to follow professions like doctors, bankers, lawyers, because they get high financial rewards. Well, I graduated with a double degree from the University of Melbourne with a Bachelor of Engineering and a Bachelor of Commerce with a full scholarship from the university. And after graduation, I immersed myself unthinkingly into finance and became an investment banker to make my parents proud. Before I resigned, I was already promoted to the lead equity analyst covering my own sector in my late 20s in one of the hottest sectors in oil and gas. And even though I felt empty and I felt my life was not so purposeful, every morning when I wake up, 5:30 in the morning to go to work, I had no motivation to wake up, and I didn't see a long-term purpose or goal in my life. So after resigning, I was very confused about where I want my life to go, what kind of person I want to be, and how I want to contribute to this world. With those questions in mind, I decided to take some time off to travel. And during my travel days, I had no concrete ideas about what I want to do However, I realized I need to quickly anchor myself on my 2 feet. So I made a list of things that interest me: fashion, travel, and empower others. Becoming an influencer allowed me to tick all 3 boxes, and at the same time covering my living cost. Actually, when I graduated, I never thought I would become an influencer. That role didn't even existed. Well, but nothing was impossible and nothing was simple either. It didn't take me long to put a strategy and execution plan together once I finally confirmed to myself that was the new career path I was going to take. Also, I had quickly realized that starting a brand new career meant setting the paycheck button, reset the paycheck button. After a successful career that was so financially motivated, having to come to the terms with the possibility of earning almost nothing when building the foundation blocks of a new career, the thought of that was really, really daunting. Luckily for me, Hong Kong it's a relatively small, tight-knit city, and it didn't take me long to get noticed by the big PR agencies and big brands once I was creating beautiful images and I started using hashtags. So it was only 3 months into my dual career, I was noticed by Tom Ford, and they reached out to me to participate in one of their big campaign on with Tom Ford Beauty. And only a few months down the road from that, I became the ambassador for Caledonia and Intimacy, and I've been the ambassador ever since. So building a career around my passion is definitely one of the best things I have done to myself. So as a result, I get to enjoy life every day, and every work day feels like a play day, and I get paid to just play and enjoy something I love to do. So skills that might be relevant to my job, I would say, or the 21st century skills. Among those, communication skills, planning skills, public speaking skills are very essential as an influencer and also as a female entrepreneur. Having a strong personal brand is also the key to the success, not just for my fields, but also for every job that's out there. Build a strong personal brand. First, you need to know what your niche is and what your strength is. It's not about to follow the trend or spot the trend. It is about to discover the trend or to be the trendsetter. So once you know, then you should map out where you stand in that particular field and who your competitors are. From there, you can build a solid strategy plan to achieve that. For more tips and advices, you can head to Own Academy's website and you can find my online course /workshop I will be hosting there. And if you have any further questions, you can always reach out to me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is Jessie, Jessie Li. Thank you so much for having me here today, and I wish you all have a wonderful International Women's Day.
Yes, that was such an inspiring talk, and I'm sure it resonated with a lot of young individuals, as many nowadays are very into the paycheck of their job and not necessarily enjoying what they do. And the way that you had courage to be able to leave your successful job and to follow your passion, I'm sure motivated a lot of young individuals. And it was just such an amazing talk to be able to really live with doing what you love and being able to enjoy life to the fullest. Thank you so much
for having me.
Thank you so much to Alyson, Joanna, and Jessie for your time and sharing your valuable insights. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and hopefully we'll see you soon. Thank you so much. Bye.